Do you believe that Robert Mueller and his team are coercing witnesses to provide false testimony by using these tactics of imprisonment, bankrupting them in legal fees? Do you believe their arms are being twisted to provide false and misleading testimony on behalf of Mueller and his team with these tactics?
100% yes, and I've experienced it personally, and that's why I'm angry. I did nothing wrong and had nothing to hide, and I went in with a resolve to tell them the truth. Now, I can explain to you how they do this, what I call perjury trap. They can get you in the first 20 minutes. Any normal human being will be caught in a perjury trap, I guarantee you.
The original testimony I gave was before I had seen my 2016 emails. Now, what they're charging me with was what I said on the first day, which was wrong, because I hadn't seen the emails. And they said, well, Dr. Corsi, go home and review your emails and come back. When I did, they allowed me to amend my testimony. So they're charging me on the original mistake I made and not reflecting that they allowed me to amend that statement. They're quizzing me on things where I was giving them my current memory, not seeing emails that I had forgotten or conversations that I'd forgotten. So it was a trap from the beginning.
No matter how much they threatened me, which they did constantly, including getting up out of the room, three prosecutors and 9 or however many FBI parading out of the room, calling my lawyer, come in here, and telling them that I had just committed, a false statement that they could demonstrably prove with some email or something I didn't remember was false, and I was now ready to go to federal prison. They could come in right here and lock me up and handcuff me and take me away. Okay, they did that constantly.
Did you get the impression that they had already created a narrative and predetermined outcome for the case, and they were trying to get you to fill in those self-made blanks? And to what extent do you believe Mueller and his team are leveraging prosecutorial relief, going easy on people like yourself in exchange for falsely enhanced or outright fabricated testimony?
Well, first of all, I agree 100%. Now, the reason it fell apart for me at the end of this was because finally, at the end of this thing, they realized I wasn't going to give them what they wanted. Then they blew it off. They came in as a group. They said, Dr. Corsi, everything you told us is worthless. We're not using any of your testimony. I said, okay, I don't care. And they said to David, tell him the next thing that's going to happen is there going to be plea negotiations. So David comes back. I said, David, I think I'm going to go into prison. He says, not today. So they're going to let you go home. Okay, now I consider that to be completely pressure tactics worthy of the communist Chinese in the Korean War, if I'd been a U.S. soldier captured by the North Koreans, or the KGB, or the Gestapo. These are not legitimate investigatorial techniques. Donald Trump's right to call this a witch hunt. I've experienced it firsthand for 40 hours, and I'm angry about it. And the prosecutorial misconduct is astounding.
To that end, Dr. Corsi, do you believe that Robert Mueller and his team, this is very important, and I appreciate you're angry, I would be as well. Do you believe that Robert Mueller and his team are coercing witnesses to provide false testimony by using these tactics of imprisonment, bankrupting them in legal fees? Do you believe their arms are being twisted to provide false and misleading testimony on behalf of Mueller and his team with these tactics?
100% yes, and I've experienced it personally, and that's why I'm angry.
All right.
Even the plea deal, let me make one more point. The plea deal I was making initially, where I have to go before a federal judge and swear that I knowingly they're forcing me to lie in order to stay out of prison. Now, it's kind of rare you get a guy from Harvard with a PhD who thinks Jesus Christ is his personal savior. That you're looking at him. And I'm not going to lie, swearing to God in front of a federal judge to keep my sorry hide out of prison. I will not lie to a charge I did not commit in front of a federal judge swearing to God. I won't do it. And that's Mueller, and that's the degree to which they go to coerce to get what they want. They went through bizarre tactics. Zelensky says, Dr. Corsi, we want you to regress. Go back to 2016. Put yourself back. You're in Italy, and now imagine Julian Assange, and how do you know now that Julian Assange has possessed his emails? I said, well, I think I see this man, and Julie Jeannie Reed gets all, well, tell me, a man, woman, man. I said, wait a minute. I stopped the whole thing. Say, Mr. Zelensky, this is nonsense. So this next thing I'm going to tell you is Alexander the Great in my former life. You're using on me cheap techniques that charlatans use to get money out of people that they want to convince through this regression technique were somebody famous in their past lives.
All right, Dr. Corsi.
No, wait a minute. Next thing you're going to do is hypnotize me. Okay, so they go so far when you don't tell them what they want as to use these techniques. I think that's completely inappropriate.
And many on the right feel that Mueller is pressuring witnesses into making false statements in an effort to take down Donald Trump and cover the deep state's tracks. Do you share that sentiment? And what can you tell us about your dealings with Mueller's team that would support or debunk those claims?
Well, I'm glad you asked. My case proves that Mueller and the Department of Justice are being run by political criminals.